Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have to talk in English because we have an important guest gonna join us to talk about the college entrance exam in China and in the US, as well as we're gonna talk about the high school life difference between China and the US. Okay, let's welcome the guest, David. Hi David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm David.
This is David. Welcome David today to come to my channel. The college entrance exam in China gonna happen in probably a week, and I want to talk about the topic around that, and hopefully all the students who gonna attend the exam gonna have a good score. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first question, let's talk about like the high school, because I know like the high school in China and the US are kind of different, the high school life. So let's talk about first, what kind of high school did you go to? Did you go to a private high school or a public high school?
I went to a private high school. I went to both middle school, grade school, and high school, so I didn't really go to public school until I was in college.
Does that mean your family is pretty rich? Because that's my assumption if you go to a private high school in China.
No, in the US you do have to pay tuition to go to private school. In public school it's provided by the government, but just because you went there doesn't necessarily mean you're rich. The tuition kind of varies from school to school, so just because it's private school doesn't mean you're necessarily rich.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit different than China, I guess, because I know a lot of celebrities, they would send their kids to a private international school in China, and that kind of school usually is very expensive compared to the public school, and most of my friends and people that I know, they all go to a public school because it's cheaper, it's more common. And the good thing about private school in China is all of their classes are going to be taught in English, and some of their teachers are native English speakers. So that's why a lot of students, if they graduate from international private school in China, their English are usually pretty good. Okay, so next question, like how many years do you have in high school?
We have 4 years in high school. In total for schooling we have 2 years of like preschool and kindergarten, and then we have grades 1 through 6 are grade school, and then 7, 8 are middle school, and then 4 of high school.
I think total years are the same between China and US, because we have kindergarten, I don't remember how many years, probably 1 to 2 years, and then grade school, which is like 6 years, and then 3 years of middle school, 3 years of high school. That's how the Chinese school is structured. Did you enjoy your high school at all?
It was okay. I think there was, we get to meet a lot of people, made a lot of friends. I think that part was good. In terms of the actual school part, I think there's a lot of stuff that we probably learned that wasn't necessarily relevant, but I think overall it was an okay experience.
Yeah, I had the same feeling. Like I feel like I hated my high school so much because all of the studies that we did for high school, even from like grade school to high school, like 12 years, all the studies that we did in those 12 years were for the final exam, which is the college entrance exam. So it's really a big deal for a lot of Chinese students, and also for a lot of their families as well, because that's so important for every student in China. And I feel so stressed every day in my high school because I know I have an exam coming up, and I know I have to study very, very hard to get a good score in that exam. So, and that's the first reason why I didn't enjoy my high school. And also, like you mentioned, I don't think I got a lot of benefits from the subjects that I took in my high school, because we only had like Chinese, English, math, physics, chemistry, and biology, that kind of subject. There's none of those were related to any type of job. So I feel like I didn't get a lot of benefit from that, and I feel the same. Like I feel like I might waste some time in my high school. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's similar. I think we had a lot of courses that, yeah, you probably wouldn't necessarily need later, but yeah, I think that's the case for most high schools.
But I feel at least you guys have some optional classes that you could potentially take, like economy and maybe something else. Was that helpful?
Yeah, I think it was. We had to take the core classes, so math, history, science, English, and then we had the options for additional classes. So some of the options we had were if you wanted to learn a second language, or political science, or economics, courses like that.
Nice. So what time does your class usually start, and what time does your class usually end?
So in high school, usually we start around 8 in the morning and we go till 3. Each individual class was about 50 minutes long, and we went through all the subjects every single day. So math, history, English, were the core subjects, and then our electives, and then we had those class for each every single day.
That's nice, because our class started at 7:30 and ended at almost 9, and we also need to go to class on Saturdays. That's kind of tough. I don't know if you guys, after 3, do you do any activities after class?
So if you're on like a sports team or in a club, then usually they meet after school. So they don't usually meet every single day. So if you're a part of a club, then you'll meet up with them after classes, and then if not, then you'll just go home or meet up with friends, and then at some point in the evening you have to try to find time to work on homework.
What kind of clubs did you attend? Any fun clubs?
Me specifically, fun was like I was in the bowling team. That was fun. But some other clubs that I was in was the chess club, Spanish club, and what was kind of like an academic competition team called Science Olympiad.
That sounds fun, because for us, we don't have time to attend any after-school activities, because we go back home at 9 or 10 sometimes, and after we finish homework, we have to go to sleep because we need to wake up like at 6 or at the latest 7 in the morning. So that's kind of different. Is your high school expensive? Because I feel like probably a lot of like a Chinese parents, if they want to send their kids to come to US for high school, they would want to know like if the high school is expensive here or not.
Again, if you did public school, that would be provided by the government, but if you're doing private school, it varies. I think mine was, a couple thousand, either, a semester or for the year.
Oh, that's not too bad compared to college.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, I think most people would be interested. How was the dating life in high school?
It was kind of stereotypical American scenario where people started dating in high school. That's usually around the age people started, but it wasn't really a big deal. It didn't really affect people's schoolwork or anything like that. It was very separate from school. So people after school or on the weekends would date, but
yeah, that sounds very different than Chinese culture, because I understand like that age, like 15 to 18, that's the perfect age to start your dating life. But unfortunately, in China, if any teacher found out that you are dating someone, then your parents probably gonna be called to come to school, and your teacher will force you to break up with your date, because they will think dating in high school might potentially impact your score, and if there's anything could potentially impact your college entrance exam score, they will ask you to stop doing it, because that exam, like I said, is so important. It's such a big deal. So That's why like a lot of schools they won't allow students to date at that age, even though they should. I feel like if I have kid in future, I will ask my kid to start dating because that's the perfect age, and like the school life is just everything is perfect, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely different because at least in the U.S., as long as people don't do anything inappropriate at school, the teachers don't care who's dating who, and you know there's more of a disconnect between the personal life. Unless you did something wrong, there's no reason for teachers or the school to call up.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
your
very
parents
nice.
or your own.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Okay. Do you need to wear a uniform in high school?
We did for private school. I think a lot of private schools do. Public schools, they usually just have like a dress code, so you could pretty much wear whatever you want as long as you stayed within the boundaries of the dress code.
Yeah, we need to wear a uniform as well, and we need to wear a uniform from Monday through Friday, and then because we also need to go to school on Saturdays, so we can wear whatever we want on Saturday. But most people don't like uniform. Our uniform was pretty ugly. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, I mean ours was very plain. It wasn't anything that looked particularly nice.
The next question is, let's talk about the exam. What kind of exam do you need to take in order to enter into the college?
It depends on the school and the state you live in. Some schools require different ones, but usually it's either the SAT or the ACT.
Which one did you take?
I took the SAT.
Is your SAT exam hard?
It was pretty hard. It was a big portion of the difficulty though is just the length of the exam. So as I mentioned, it's covering 4 or 5 different subjects, and each portion of the exam is, I think it was at least an hour long, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours long. So you go and take the test on a Saturday, start at like 9 a.m. and then be there till the afternoon just taking exams the whole time. So I think that was the most difficult part. But we started preparing maybe 3 to 6 months in advance, and it wasn't like an everyday type of preparation. It was more like, you know, on the weekends we'd have separate classes that we could go to that were optional to help prepare you for it. We get books to help prepare with that had different questions based on the different subjects of the exam.
What kind of subjects do you have for the exam?
For the SAT, they had things like reading comprehension, writing, math, and logic type of questions. And vocabulary was a big one as well.
Oh, it sounds like very similar to my GMAT exam, I feel like. But our college entries exam is quite different. We have to take like 6 subjects, which including 3 basic subjects, which are the math, English, and Chinese. And also you could choose either physics, chemistry, and biology, or you could choose history, geography, and politics. So total we need to take 6. And also, like I mentioned, we really took, I feel like it took me like 12 years to prepare that final exam. And the most intense preparation happened, of course, in high school, 3 years. Difficulty of the Chinese college entrance exam varies based on which city you live in. If you live in some top tier city like Beijing, Shanghai, or Tianjin, then your exam compared to other province like Shandong or Henan province, your exam might not be as hard as those provinces, because in the top tier city, the students who attend the college entrance exam are not as much as the students who attend, the number of students who attend the college entrance exam in the province that I mentioned, like the Henan and Shandong, because the more population of students attend the exam, the more competition it will be. So like I feel lucky because I used to live in Tianjin, which really in my city there were not that many students attended the college entrance exam. So actually turned out that one of my college roommates, her score was 100 more than my score, but we were in the same major, same school. Even though I feel like it might not be fair, but that's how it is. That's just because of the population.
Mm-hmm.
Often can you take the SAP exam? Does that?
The SAT one?
Yeah, SAT.
I'm not too sure if there's a limit on it. I think there is some sort of wait period before you could take it again. I think it's a matter of months. But yeah, you keep taking it. I know some people who've taken it. I took it a couple times myself, and I know some people have taken it to try to get higher scores.
That's nice because we can only take college entrance exam once per year, and if someone wants to take it again next year, that's again is just, I feel like it's another years of torture because you need to spend another year to prepare for the exam, and you need to study very hard every single day. And also it's not only a torture for yourself, it's also a torture for your parents, because when you prepare the exam, your parents are also in stress. And I just feel like that's why like it's a big decision if you want to prepare the exam for another year. It's not like SAT or like when I prepare for GMAT, I could potentially prepare for a couple months for taking that exam again. Is totally different. Yeah. This question is, I think probably a lot of Chinese parents would be interested. How hard is to go to Ivy League school in United States?
Ivy League school, they're pretty tough to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's based on a combination of things, including like your GPA, your scores on either the ACT or the SAT, but also the different types of activities you're in. Because in almost every school you go to, there's going to be students with perfect GPAs, and of those, a lot of them are going to do well on the SATs as well. So the school looks for other attributes, and one of them is people who would actually get involved and do things and contribute to the reputation of the college. So people who excel in other activities like sports and clubs is very important.
Yeah, I guess this part is very different in China because the only thing that the top school in China they care is the score. If you have a good score, you can just get into those kind of school, like the top school in China. But it sounds like it's also very hard to get into the Ivy League school in United States because you need to not only to have a good score, but also to attend all kinds of activities and to have some experience that other people might not have. So that could potentially be very hard, right?
Yeah, I mean, I myself didn't go to an Ivy League school, but it's a big indicator for a lot of colleges is kind of having like a well-rounded student, not just one who does very good on specific tests. So I'd imagine it's the same for Ivy League schools, just because for Ivy League schools, it's not only just students in the U.S. who are applying, but also around the world.
Yeah.
Students are trying to apply to Ivy League schools, so you have to try to outperform all of them as well.
Yeah, I think maybe the percentage of going into like the Chinese top schools and also the percentage of students going to Ivy League school all over the world might be the same, because I would say similar, because the population in China, like there's so many students, there's millions of students every year to attend the college entrance exam, and there's only very certain percentage of students could get into those top schools in China. So I think the difficulty probably are very similar compared between China and US. But for example, if a student have a good score, have all kind of activities, and they got offer from one of the Ivy League school, but is there any concern from financial perspective?
I mean, yeah, again, it varies depending on like the state you live in. I know for some schools like they have a small the tuition is less for in-state students. So depending on the state you live in, and then again, not all Ivy League schools charge the same. So some are definitely more expensive than others. So it really varies depending on the school that you want to go to.
Because I know like for college class, it could potentially be cost like few thousand per course. I would assume every school probably around in that range, right? But I mean, the college, because I went to college in Shanghai, and I know the Chinese college are really not that expensive, because my tuition, my living cost per semester was only like $1,000. The next question is, did you have any idea of what major you want to study when you get into college while you were in high school?
I picked a major for college based on a class I took in high school, which was economics. But at least in the US, for a lot of people, they don't really narrow down what they want to do until they're actually in college. So it's very common for people to either go to college not declaring a major, or to declare it when they start, but then part of the way through change.
So I know you mentioned that there's some like economic class you could choose as an optional class in high school. Do you think that class helped you to decide what major you want to be in?
Yeah, I mean, like it's of all my courses, that was the one I liked the best in high school. So just the topics that we covered I thought were very interesting, so that's why I wanted to pursue it further. But I ended up switching to something else later, to computer science, but I had no exposure to that in high school. So I feel like that's why a lot of people end up changing, is because in high school they don't really have exposure to all the different options that are out there, and they don't really know what they want to do until they're in college.
Yeah, like for us, I had no clue what I want to do, which major I want to choose for college, because all the subjects that we learned in high school are not related to like the future career, I feel like. So I had no clue, but my dad wanted me to go to math school because he wants me to become a doctor, but my biology really sucks, so I didn't want to do that. And then so I ended up went to a school, but was an undecided major like you said. And then after the first year, the school allowed us to choose whatever major we like. And then my dad suggested me to choose finance. I feel like most parents here also suggest their kids to choose like business related major, because you could potentially have more opportunities when you start looking for a job. If I had a chance to choose some optical classes in high school, that could potentially benefit me a little bit more when I decide which major I want to choose for college. Okay, that's all for today's interview, I guess. Thank you so much for our important guest, David, and thank you, David.
Yeah, no problem.
好了，以上就是本期视频的全部内容啦。希望大家喜欢我的视频，然后也希望所有现在正在备考的学生可以能够放松心态，然后考出一个自己理想的好成绩。然后上考场的时候不要紧张，虽然我在说不要紧张，但是我知道你们肯定会紧张。但是就是try to OK， 然后就是尽量用各种方法可以。任何方法可以，如果能帮助你们这个减压的话，就 try to do it。然后我觉得，就是高考是一件很大的事情，但是它绝对不是 end of the world。如果你 fail 掉，我觉得对很多人说高考是可以改变命运，然后是非常非常重要的人生的一个转折点。但是我想跟大家说的是，高考绝对不是 everything， 它只是就是你生命中的一个。我觉得它就是生命中的一个经历。如果你考好了，当然 everybody is happy。如果你考的一般般，我觉得你将来也会如果你不断的努力的话，将来也会成为一个很成功的人。如果你实在考砸了，我觉得高考也不是就是 end of the world。 然后我真的希望大家可以就是放松心态，然后就把它当成一个人生的一个过客，然后加油 ，OK。好，谢谢大家收看我今天的视频，然后也谢谢我们的魏哥，这个全情的投入，然后来帮我们讲解这个美国的高考制度以及美国的这个 high school 的生活，然后我们下次再见，谢谢大家，拜拜。
Makes sense.
Yeah. I forgot what I want to say.
Well, I mean, you skipped some questions about the high school of the day, like how many hours during the day. Also, you asked.
I said that, but I forgot to ask you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You didn't say. You said it in yours, but you didn't ask me that. You also didn't.